Can you tell if any dark energy is surrounding me? How long it has been there? Days,
No,
months, or years?
no.
What intention it has towards me, harm, influence, or observation, and what message that negative entity might want me to hear.
Yeah, you don't have anything to do around you.
So, according to you, is late night a dangerous period?
Well, they say that 3 a.m. is a demonic hour, and that's the exact opposite of the time that Jesus died on the cross.
What is your opinion about Illuminati?
They're trouble with a capital T. The Illuminati think that they're all that in a bag of chips, but they haven't a clue. I've had them approach me to try to join them, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Really?" I said, I can pull a demon out of my pocket, and you'd be sorry for that one. I'm like, that's not how I roll, I said, I'm all about the light, so don't screw with me.
June Lundgren is a psychic medium, author, and demon seer with over 40 years of paranormal experience. Real quick, if you are an aspiring author or have a book idea brewing, this is for you. Ready to self-publish or share your voice with the world? Visit blazegoldburst.com, your portal to publishing, visibility, and global impact. Also, support this movement by diving into Lords or Inner Children by Gita Shripani and Reversed Order Existence by Blaze Goldburst. Alright, let's get back to it.
Welcome to the show, June.
I'm here. No, thank you.
What exactly is a demon seer? Is it a rare gift or a dangerous curse?
It's a rare gift. I think there are only 7 people in the world today that are able to see demons in their true form. And I'm one of them. I was born with that gift. I have the ability to see them, to understand them, communicate, and actually remove or kill them.
The audience would like to know more about your journey, how it started. Did you acquire this gift?
I was born with it. My grandparents raised me, and my grandmother was a psychic medium, so she's always been able to see and hear the other side. All the women in our family are able to do it. When I was younger, my grandmother told me about a prophecy that was handed down in the family from female to female, because the females are the only ones with the gifts in our family. And she told me that there was a prophecy that was given in the 14th century that said a female child will be born with the ability to see demons in their true form, do battle with them, understand them, and communicate with them and kill them. So I've been seeing them up until I was about 4.5 years old. I saw demons as most humans do, in their, either mass or black silhouette or something like that, or maybe some of them would see him like half goat, half man type of thing. But at 4.5, it's how I see them changed. I could actually see them in their true form at that time. And from then on, Michael the Archangel's always been with me. So he's protected me through my childhood from the demons. But he said, I want you to observe them, to learn what they do, how they work, and see, their behaviors. So from 4.5 up, that's what I did. When I was 18, the protection ended, and I had to deal with my first demon one-on-one. So it was interesting. I died in a motorcycle accident in 1986. I was riding my motorcycle and a woman ran a red light and hit me. So I died and went to the other side. And when I was on the other side, Michael was there, my grandparents. And Michael says, you need to understand who and what you are. He says, your body was created to hold the soul of Ariel, the Archangel. She's a demon slayer. So this is what your job is in the physical world. you're supposed to be, killing demons, helping mankind. And I'm like, well, you couldn't give me something fun to do. You had to give me this stuff. But anyway, so I came back. They said, you have to go back. So I came back, and Michael was able to merge my soul consciousness with my physical consciousness so that I can see what she sees. I can hear what she hears. And, I can slay demons. It's just, for me, that's as natural as breathing. I'm so used to doing it, but not everyone can do that. And because I have an archangel inside of me, it makes it so much easier to deal with these things. They are afraid of me, so they have a tendency to stay away from me. So it makes it much easier to help people.
Do you see them all the time?
All the time, 24/7.
What is the most dangerous demon or negative entity you have ever faced? And how did you ultimately remove it?
Well, there was Lucifer's son. He was, and always has been, a pain in my other end. But he started manipulating things in the physical world and bringing more demons into the physical world. And then he wanted to do battle with Ariel. So she said, okay, you're going to do it on my terms. So August 18, 2018, the battle happened. And when the battle was over, Ariel had killed Lucifer's son. And the other archangels that were with her, did a lot of damage to his followers. So I guess he was the nastiest one. Even Lucifer wasn't that nasty. So you have to go into a whole different realm of existence in order to kill these things. It's between heaven and hell. Yeah, I call it no man's land, because when you're there doing battle, no one is superior. That everyone has the same amount of power.
Can demons or dark spirits actually attach themselves to physical objects? And how can someone cleanse a cursed object without putting themselves in danger?
Well, yeah, they can attach themselves to an object, a place, a person, a thing, and they choose not to do it all the time. Rarely do they do it. Usually, if you find something like the Dybbuk box that has a demon attached to it, the demon was bound to the object. So someone bound the demon to the object. So it could not leave. But that does not mean that its influence is only around the object itself. You can be across the United States, and that demon still has the power to get to you. Even though it's like we might want to say, even though it's physically bound to the box, its influence is, everywhere.
What is your opinion about Annabelle doll?
Yeah, there's probably one attached to it. I haven't been asked to remove it yet. If it causes a problem, then I will do it myself. But most people, you're going to find that some people can cleanse a box or an object, but you'd have to have an angelic soul or an angelic spirit in order to actually get rid of the demon for good. Because if you remove it from the box, say you have a box and it's got a demonic attachment, if you remove the demon from the box, it'll come right back. You have to literally kill it.
In your experience, do certain houses or lands become permanently haunted no matter how many times they are cleansed?
No. There's always a way to get rid of, most land, like you'll find prisons, hospitals, insane asylums, care facilities. These are locations where the demons, kind of have a tendency to gather because it's easy pickings for them. And there's a lot of either either pain, suffering, anger, resentment, all of that. Anywhere where there's negative energy, they're going to be. And you can actually clear it out. But the thing is, you have to know what you're doing, and you have to have angelic energy within you in order to make it a permanent thing. You'll find like where there were battles like Gettysburg, the Little Bighorn. These places have a lot of negative energy to them. And so the demons are attracted to those areas. And I've had people say, well, I've had some clients where they've been on shows and the person that was doing the show said, oh, you'll never be able to live here. You have to leave. You can't, nobody can live on this land. And that's BS, because I've had those people come to me and I've cleared it. It's not, it's a matter of having the angelic energy to do it.
Can a spirit or demon remain dormant in a home
for decades before making itself known, and what usually triggers it to surface?
Well, usually what you'll have is you'll have a home, and say the home was built in the 1800s, and it's passed down from person to person to person, but the spirit can remain there as long as it's happy, and because a lot of spirits will not see the home as it is in the 20th century. They'll see it as it was when they were alive. So, of course, they want to stay in the place that they know, that they love, that they're happy with. But if you start renovating the location, tearing down walls, putting up walls, then that kind of wakes them up and it makes them mad, because they see it as their house and you're ruining their house. So that will bring them forth, and they'll cause problems, all kind of problems. You make tools disappear, make paint disappear, all kinds of things they can do. They can push you off a ladder, You better listen.
What about people who have recently died? Can they haunt a place?
It's the same type of thing. This is their house. They want to stay there. They don't want anybody else. What are you doing in my house? I was called in on a location across the state from where I live, and the couple it was haunted. It was being haunted. And they asked if I would come, and I was visiting a friend over there, and I said, okay. So the minute I hit the property, I knew what was there. So when I went inside and I talked to the woman, I said, I need to go into the living room. I said, there's a chair in there that's been here since the house was up for rent. And so I went in there, and there's an older man there, and he had a heart attack and died. And at first, he didn't know he was dead. Sometimes when you die, you can go into a kind of shock. Being a nurse, I'll tell you that, when you have something traumatic happen, you go into shock, everything goes black, and then you wake up. Well, that's what happened with him. He didn't realize he was dead until he tried to talk to his son and daughter-in-law who were trying to rent the house out. Then he realized he was dead. And so he haunted the people that were there. And I said, well, why are you haunting them? And he says, they're not taking care of my house. They don't take care of it the way I did. And I said, what about the couple that's here now? I said, they take care of things. He says, yes, I like them. They take care of things. I said, don't you want to go home to the light? And he says, I don't know how. So all you have to do is create a white light tunnel in your mind. And I told him, I said, go into the light. I said, your family's waiting for you. I said, no problem. So he turned and left and went into the light. And he never had any problems after that. And he had died like 2 years prior.
I have seen some people pray daily, attend religious services, and still feel surrounded by negative energy. Could this be bad karma from this life or a past life haunting them?
Well, you can be a devout, godly person. You can pray every day. You can go to church every day. But the thing is, you still live past lives. Some people do not believe that they believe you come down once and that's it and you're out of there. But that's not true. You can come back many times if you want to. It's all about what the soul wants to do. So if they have negative energy around them, it's usually, I hate to tell you this, but 99.9% of negative energy in the world comes from people, humans. So if they know that it's spiritual, then they can, clear themselves. And if they can't clear themselves, then they need to find someone who can, whether it's a priest or a voodoo priestess or, whatever, a Buddhist monk, whoever you can get to help you clear it. But if that doesn't work, then it's usually something that's negative, like a negative entity. And a lot of people don't know how to tell the negative entities, the true ones, the demonics, from a ghost or a spirit of a negative person that died. They're negative in life, they're going to be negative in death. But once you realize that it is a negative entity, then you need to find someone that can remove it. Somebody like me, or a deliverance minister, or something like someone with a specialty in that, an exorcist, things like that. But it's because that's the only way you're going to remove it.
So, a negative person, if he dies, then he becomes a demon, according to you?
No. If you're a negative entity, if you're a negative person, say you're really a rotten person, and then you die, you don't want to go to heaven, so you hang around in the physical world, haunting people and causing bad things to happen. Demons are different. A demon cannot live a physical life. In the war between heaven and hell, God said, I'm going to give you exactly what you want. You're never going to be able to take on physical form. And they don't want to take on physical form because they see it as being trapped in a shell. And that's what started the whole war anyway. They didn't want to be physical. They didn't want to be subject to pain, disease, growing old, any of that. So that's what started the war. And so they can't do that. They can't take on physical form. But they can cause a lot of problems for the physical people. They can, if they choose to attach themselves to you, then they have a certain MO. They try to isolate you from the people that's your support system, the people that are closest to you. And then your health starts having problems. Your health starts going downhill. Your finances start going downhill. That's how they work. And so they push people away from you so nobody can help you. And they talk to you and they tell you you'll never get away from them, that they're going to drag you down to hell. And they try to brainwash you. But, they're kind of like a used car salesman. If their lips are moving, they're lying.
So, according to you, are most mental disorders done by demons?
No, there are people that have true mental disorders, mental illness. And those people are born with it. It's a chemical imbalance in the brain. The brain's not wired correctly. But if you have a demonic attachment, a demon will be attracted to someone with mental illness because they're easy to control. They're easy to manipulate. And other people won't see it as demonic because, they already had mental illness. So what's the difference? The demons can hide in the mental illness.
Can a person's past life choices make them more vulnerable to demonic attacks in this life?
It depends. I've worked with people who have, in past lives, been demon slayers. They've been monks, priests, people that dedicate their life to, ridding people of these demonic attachments. And each soul resonates on a different frequency. So, say in a past life, you kicked this demon named Fred out. Okay? Well, Fred's going to be pissed. So when you reincarnate, he will look for your specific frequency. And once he finds you, then he's going to make your life miserable. I mean, if you're doing the work of the light in the other lifetimes, yeah, that kind of makes you a target.
Are generational or ancestral karmic debts something that demons can exploit?
Well, a lot of people believe that that they're cursed, or there's a past life issue comes up, and they're cursed, or their whole family. It's like my great grandfather was cursed, and his son, and his son, and his son. It's not like Hollywood. It's of one of two things. It's either a spirit, say your great grandfather hurt somebody really, really bad, and that person says, you know what, I curse you for the rest of your life, and all your children and your children's children, right? So what happens is when that person dies, the spirit of the person, the soul, will remain earthbound, and it will make the living people's lives miserable because there's no time on the other side. So they think they were just done wrong yesterday. So they will, continue to cause problems in the family all the way along until they're removed. And the other reason for that type of thing is a demonic attachment, which can go from your great grandpa all the way through because there is no time on the other side. There is no distance. So for the demons, it's like they're just having fun. They're just making your life miserable, and your children's and your children's children. That's the way it is. Karma usually doesn't come out that way. It will usually be, give you an example. My husband's always had an absolute fear of drowning. Absolute. And as a child, his mother said there was never any slip in the bathtub or anything else. There was no reason for it, right? So one day he had a dream, and he came and told me, he says, like, I have this dream. I'm on board the Arizona, which is the battleship in Pearl Harbor. And he said, I'm walking through water like you walk through air. He said, I'm down in the rec room, and the big topic of conversation is, why didn't they come for us? Because when it sank, they just left the bodies there. They just left the bodies of the men there, and the men were unhappy. And so in the dream, next thing he knows, he's up on board the monument, and he's looking down the list of people for his name. And he finds his name. He wakes up. So he has me get a list of the men that died on the Arizona. So I gave him the list. On page 18, he says, this is who I was. The name of the man was Raymond Arthur Roby. And he said, this is who I was at that time. Well, my husband's one of those people, if you can't touch it, feel it, or see it, it doesn't exist. So for him to say that, that's saying quite a lot. And I named my son after my grandfather, Ray Arthur. So his name in that lifetime was Raymond Arthur. So there's no such thing as coincidence. But like I said, karma can come back that way. Or if you have an unsubstantiated fear, like a fear of falling or a fear of, getting hit by a train, it's usually because you died that way in your past life. And it's, something will trigger it in this lifetime. That's just the way it is.
What is your opinion about black magic?
What's my opinion on it? As far as I know, people are going to write in and say, you don't know what you're talking about. But the only black magic that is relevant to me is the ones who will summon a demon and utilize the demon to gain power or to gain wealth or to hurt someone. And so when they do satanic rituals and they do that sort of thing, then it bothers me, and then I have to take their powers away from them. Kill the demon, take the powers away.
And Ouija boards?
They're like anything else. They're like a crystal ball or tarot cards. It's a tool, nothing more. You get out of it what you put into it. If you put negative into it, or you expect to get negative from it, that's what you're going to get. If you put light into it, good into it, then that's what you're going to get. It's all about that. It's all about the intention. When I was in heaven, Michael said, you need to understand, that it's the intention behind the thought that gives it power. So if your intention in going, using a Ouija board is to summon a demon, there you go. They're going to get it. Stupid people.
So, according to you, how does heaven and hell look like?
Hell's kind of interesting. I've been there a few times to talk to Azrael. He is an archangel that was requested to stay in the dark realm to help those who wanted redemption, to come to get back to the light. So it's dark. It's of course, but if you were to see it as a human, you would see, craggy rocks, tar pits, just like everything's black. There is a lot of negative energy there. There's a lot of power there, but you really wouldn't want to visit for any length of time. I kept my visits short. But heaven is different. When you go to the other side, the human brain has to perceive it. It has to make sense of it. So when I went to the other side, my grandparents were there, and Michael the Archangel was there. And I saw it as pure energy with like clouds and things like that. And I could hear every single soul in existence murmuring in like a background noise. And then above all that, I could hear God, the connection I have to God. And you feel safe, you feel comfortable, you feel loved. But it's like, when you love your child, you multiply that times 1,000. And that's how it feels on the other side. And each person will see it as something different, their preconceived concept of what it is. But for me, being Michael was there and my grandparents, that's how I perceived it. And that's when Michael said, you need to understand who and what you are. And he touched my forehead and he said, you're Ariel the Archangel. And so I could see myself, and I wasn't as I am now. I was like 7 feet tall. I had like 12-foot wingspan, and I had long dark auburn hair and blue-green eyes. And he says, this is who you truly are. So it was quite interesting.
Next question. Is there a karmic reason why some people attract repeated paranormal problems?
No, not really. It's not really got anything to do with karma, and more everything to do with the person being open. 99.9% of people in the world have abilities in one form or another. And, some stronger, some very weak. Some people are fearful of them, so they will try to not deal with them at all. They'll try to, push them away. But if you're open at all, you're going to attract paranormal activity. It's like lighting a match in the middle of the dark. I mean, you're going. The spirits are going to say, "Oh, good, a live one. Let's go and visit with that person." For me, it's because of Ariel. It's everywhere I go. People say that when Ariel comes forward, they see physical manifestations. They see wings coming out of my shoulders, my eyes turn white, and my voice and my face changes. Those are the physical manifestations that she's there. But, karma doesn't have anything to do with it, really. It's all about whether you're open or not, whether you accept your abilities or your gifts. If you don't accept, say you're very strong, say your abilities are very strong, and you decide, you know what, I'm too scared of them, I'm not going to use them, I'm going to ignore them completely, then after a while it's going to come out in a physical way. You'll get headaches, you may have body aches, hear things that really are not there. So it's like putting a lid on a pressure cooker. Eventually it's going to explode. And you're going to have to see whatever it is you don't want to see.
Can you tell if any dark energy is surrounding me or my loved ones? how long it has been there, days,
No,
months, or years,
no.
what intention it has towards me, harm, influence, or observation, and what message that negative entity might want me to hear.
Yeah, you don't have anything negative around you. Not from the other side anyway. Humans are a whole other situation, and I can't help that. But no, there's no negative spirits. There's no demons. Yeah, there's nothing like that. So you're okay there. Families around you, but that's it. You have family that
So,
have crossed and they're around you, trying to help you.
so according to you, I am not surrounded by any negative entity.
No, the
But
minute you contacted me, I would have known.
but sometimes I see that appliances shut off and on in my place.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I see that. Do you think it's
Right.
a demonic possession or something of the
No,
place?
it's family. It's
Uh,
family or spirits passing through. You know, they want you to know they're there. You know, your family definitely wants you to know they're there. The thing is, demons can mess with electronics, but so can angels and so can earthbound spirits. You know, I think it's most of the time it's just family. They're like saying, "Hey, I'm here. You know, I got your back."
so according to you, I'm surrounded by angels or ancestors
Yeah,
or
yeah. You have a bunch of family around you. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 of them right now.
six, six of
6 of them.
them
6 of
from which
them.
side?
Both sides. You have some from your mothers and some from your fathers.
Okay. So my next question is, are there warning signs in a person's daily life that indicate they are being targeted by a specific entity?
Absolutely. I mean, it's like okay, say like you're living your life and no problem, the typical human stuff. And then all of a sudden things start going sideways, like really fast and really bad. Like suddenly your car breaks down, and it costs like $10,000 to fix it. Uh, you fall and break your leg. Your mom has a heart attack. You know, these type of things that occur all of a sudden, they're usually the first signs that there's something negative either stalking you or attached to you. And if it's stalking you, you'll get all of that type of thing. But if it's attached to you, you're going to have negative thoughts. Your whole personality will change. You'll be angrier. They can cause you anger, depression, jealousy. All of these things that come out of the blue, just seemingly out of nowhere with no cause. Then it's the dark ones causing it.
Once a dark entity attaches to someone, can it follow them through multiple lifetimes?
No, it can find you later, but once you die, it can no longer attach itself. But if you choose to come back again, say you're going to come back in 10 years, okay? So you come back again, you've got to know that that demon, because it's still alive, is going to be hunting for you. It doesn't know, it can't simply tell by looking at you, that you're the person they want to get. It would have to go by the vibrational frequency of the individual. And it's like having like a fingerprint. It's exactly the same. You only have, you have your fingerprints and nobody else's. And that you have your vibrational frequency and nobody else's. So they're going to look for that. But it's going to take them a long time to find it, if they ever do.
When you communicate with animals, can you connect with both living pets and deceased ones?
Oh, yeah, yeah. That's living and dead, doesn't make no difference. It's the energy and the soul that resides within the animal. Unfortunately for me, I don't like bugs. And they have no attention span whatsoever. I mean, talking to them is like, they're going to do what they're going to do anyway. But like, I have a farm and I have dogs. So whenever I talk to an animal, I hear them like I hear you. It's a regular conversation. Once they get over the first surprise that they can understand me, then it's like, oh, well, let me tell you, this is what I need and this is what I want. So it's like, or if they're dead, like I can connect with them. All I have to do is have a picture and I can talk to them. And unless they've come back again. And if they've come back again, I could still talk to them, but it's on a different level. It's a totally different level.
So can you hear them speak also? Like if they're living?
Well, yeah. Like I said, they talk to me like I'm talking to you. They're like, yeah, this is what I want. I have people that contact me about. I had an episode where a person contacted me because her dog was biting, and it was something out of the ordinary, and the dog was growling at people and stuff like that. But you really have to sit down, literally, in your mind, telepathically, and talk to the animal. You have to find out the reason behind, the behavior. Because a lot of them, especially if they're a rescue animal, you don't know if they were abused before you got them. Or sometimes they're like people, they will have a past life that will hold over into the present lifetime. It happens. Not just people, animals the same. Although it doesn't happen as often with animals because they're kind of closer to God. They're not complex. They don't have the baggage that we have. We have all this baggage. And they're like quite simplistic in their needs, in their wants, everything. They can tell since I was a kid, since I was a baby, I've been able to communicate with them. Animals can see demons. Animals can see and hear angels or a person with angelic energy. And so that's what always drew them to. My grandmother was surprised from the time I was a baby on. The animals would gather because she lived on a farm. The animals would gather and sleep under my crib. And she'd take me outside and the animals would come from all around.
How do animals see spirits? Can they perceive them all the time? And do they naturally have clairvoyance or other psychic abilities?
Oh, yeah. Animals can see them. Animals can hear them. They perceive them. If they see a spirit, a human spirit, they will see it as the spirit wishes them to perceive them. Like, say your grandma dies, right? But the happiest time in her life was when she first got married and she was young. So she would show herself at that, like in that image, because she was the happiest that she's ever been. She wouldn't show, if she was showing herself to you, she would show herself as grandma. But to her daughter, her son, her brother, she would show herself as she was like 30, 40 years. And the animals see that. They can hear them, they can understand them, just like they can hear and understand demons. And they don't like demons either. They will growl. If you've got an animal, people have a tendency not to pay attention to their animals. If that animal is growling at something, you had better understand that there's something negative there, whether it's a human spirit or a demon. It's there because a demon will not even think twice about killing that animal. I've seen it happen. They just kill it.
So, according to you, is late night a dangerous period?
Well, they say that 3 a.m. is a demonic hour, and that's the exact opposite of the time that Jesus died on the cross. But it's only better for them because they can hide themselves better. I mean, they're dark. They're going to blend in with the dark, and you can't perceive them. Whereas in the daylight, if you see a black shadow going across the room, you're aware of them, that's for sure. But yeah, it's the best time for them. But they can attack you anytime. It'll make no difference to them. Time is irrelevant because time is man-made.
So, what is your opinion about astral travel? Is it safe?
Astral project. If you do it correctly, yes. If you do it before you start to do your astral projection, you need to ask for a blessing on it and protection from God or whatever deity, whether it's Buddha, Shiva, whatever. You just ask for their protection and their guidance, and then you can do it. And then when you're through with it, you say that you thank them and move on.
Have you done
Astral projection too?
All the time. What are you talking about? Ariel leaves all the time, and she does battles. When she leaves my body and goes and does battle, I can still see what's happening. I can see through her eyes, so I know exactly what's happening, where she is, and what she's doing. So that kind of makes it simple for me, to deal with.
What if you astral project and go to a haunted location and feel the terror? What would you do?
Oh, if I go to, I've done that lots of times. I've gone all over I don't even have to leave my house to go. I've had people call me from the Netherlands, from India, from Australia, and all I need is a picture of the location. And I know what's there, I know how it got there, and then if it's nasty, I'll get rid of it. I don't have to go to the location.
So, do you also solve mysteries?
I do sometimes, but the problem is I don't like to, there are shows on TV about, America's Most Wanted, and, things like that, those type of shows, whatever happened. Because I stopped watching them when I was a teenager because I always knew what happened. I always knew where that person was, who did it. And, that'll get you in a lot of trouble because people have a tendency to say, well, how come you know this person did it? Were you their friend? It opens up a whole can of worms.
Next question. How effective and accurate are EVP recordings and spirit boxes?
Well, if you get a good spirit box, oh yeah, the negative entities can manipulate them. Oh yeah, sure, that's not a problem. I have recordings of demons screaming as I rip them out. I mean, it's just a matter of, the problem with EVPs is you don't, most people think, oh, if it's a demon, it's going to sound gravelly and growly and rough and stuff like that. But not always. Demons can disguise themselves as a human entity. And so it'll sound like it's a human talking. So the person will think that that's, a person that died in the house or the location. But if you get, it's all subjective. If you get really good Class A EVPs, best way I can say it is, if you get an EVP and it gives you a creepy feeling, it's not positive. It's negative. Because if you get an earthbound spirit, you're not going to feel that way. And if you're in a location and, you get a cold spot, you walk through a location, there'll be a cold spot, or the hairs on the back of your arms are sticking up. That's usually a ghost. A demon doesn't do that. They make you feel cold on the inside. It's like your core body feels cold. It can be 100 degrees outside, but inside your body, it feels cold. And then you get this sickening feeling in the pit of your stomach. And it's usually a demon. That's their calling cards.
Can angels also communicate via spirit box?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They don't like to, but they will. And I was on a show called Paranormal Crossings. And the first recording I did of the show, it didn't exist. The guy that was doing the show, he recorded it on Blu-ray, on the computer at the studio. He recorded it on his own computer, and none of it was there when he went to listen. And he couldn't understand it. He waited a couple weeks, and I said, well, my friends want to watch. He says, I hate to tell you this, but it's nowhere. Not on any of them. He says, it's disappeared like it never happened. I started laughing, and he's like, I thought you'd be mad. I said, why? I said, I deal with demons. I said, that's their MO. That's no problem. He said, well, can you come back and do the show again? I said, yeah, I'll come back and do the show again. So I did the show, and I brought Michael with me, the Archangel, Earthbound. And my friends, you have a monitor that you watch the show on, and you can see the show while you're being interviewed. And Michael showed himself on the monitor. And my friends were freaking out. And then I could feel a negative entity come into the studio. And I told Michael telepathically, it's something you're going to have to take it out. And the other host, his wife, said that she said, something broke the air. She said, the air's been blowing on me all this time. She said, and something broke the air going over me, and I saw a huge wing. And then he went to stand right behind me, and he wrapped his wing around the demon and cast it out. And then he went behind the host, and he put his hands on his shoulders. And he could see the reflection in the monitor. That freaked him out. I said, well, And later, he called me later and said, oh my God, I heard this demon scream at such and such time. I'm like, yeah, that was just when Michael took out the demon. No big deal. He's freaking out. They scream.
Have you ever had an EVP session reveal something far more dangerous than expected?
No. That I've been in on? No. Because I always know what's there before I get there. So it's like, I'm expecting an old demon, and it reveals it, and okay. It's just, I'm so used to it, I don't pay no attention.
Do demons ever intentionally manipulate spirit box sessions to mislead or frighten investigators?
Of course. They like to. They're all about creating negative energy, which is fear, anger, jealousy, depression. They're all about that. So if they can scare the hell out of you, they're going to do it by manipulating the spirit box, or they'll move something, or they'll stand behind you, or they'll stand beside you, or in front of you for that matter. But the trick is not to acknowledge them. If you acknowledge them, it makes them pay attention to you. It makes them see you. And that's the last thing you want, because you'll end up with them attached to you. But, even if it's for a short time, it'll make your life a living hell.
So when using a spirit box, should we directly invite them or do any process?
Only if you want trouble. You don't provoke demons. It's like I told Zach Baggins from Ghost Adventures. I told him, I said, why would you provoke something you can't see, you can't hear, you can't feel, and you can't touch, and that can kill your ass? So why would you do that? Stop provoking. I said, that's the message you're getting from this old demon. When I was on the show, this old demon wanted me to give him a message. I said, here's the message. I said, stop provoking. You're disrespecting them, and they don't like it.
And with other spirits, is it safe?
Yeah. I mean, if you've got a human spirit and they want to give a message, tell my loved one that I miss them or I love them or whatever, that's cool, but you also run the risk of one attaching itself to you.
So how to make them go?
You just tell them, basically, like I said, before you start an EVP session, like any other thing, you have to ask for protection, and ask for guidance, and ask for a blessing. And you let whatever's there, like when you start the session, say, if anybody has anything to say for the greater good of an individual, you can come and speak into the box, but you're not allowed to follow me home or anyone else here. Yeah, you have to lay down the law. They need boundaries and limitations, just like kids do.
Should it be done inside one's home or outside only?
It doesn't matter, because if say you've got a house you think is haunted, right? You don't have to go into the house. You can stand outside and do it, and because the walls don't exist for them, so they just walk right through the wall.
So inside our own home also we can do?
Yeah, you can do it inside, you can do it outside, make no difference.
So it doesn't matter if it is in America or India?
No, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, they're the same world over. Yeah, they're the same world over. It's not a big deal. That's why I can see a demon in the Netherlands or in Australia or in India, simply because I have a picture or I have an email from someone. Then I can see what's there.
What is your opinion about Illuminati?
they're trouble with a capital T. The Illuminati think that they're all that in a bag of chips, but they haven't a clue. I've had them approach me to try to join them. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Really? I said, I could pull a demon out of my pocket and you'd be sorry for that one. I'm like, that's not how I roll, you know? I said, I'm all about the light. So don't screw with me.
So are they dangerous or just?
They can be dangerous because some of them are just kind of like the Freemasons. You know, they're all about their procedures and doing what they do. But others become obsessed and take it to a whole nother level. And those are the ones that become dangerous because they think they're invincible.
Some celebrities are known to be associated with them.
Yeah, they are. But, you know, and they do it because it's kind of like, and I'll probably get a bunch of crap for it, but it's kind of like satanic worshipers. You know, Florida has one of the biggest satanic churches in the world. I mean, for God's sakes, you know, it's all about that. If you believe in it, if you practice it, you know, then you're going to get, you know, people will try to summon demons and stuff like that. But I'm telling you right now, if you summon a demon and you want it to do your bidding, I'm telling you right now that it'll humor you for a little while, and then it'll turn on you, and you'll wish you had never seen one. They do. They play with you. They let you think that you're controlling them, and then they take it to the next level. And that's when they call me and say, and I'm like, you know, really? You summoned it. You get what you pay. You get what you get what you get.
If someone has sold their soul to the demon, would you be able to help them get it back?
That's a misconception. You cannot sell your soul to a demon. I mean, you have the demonic entities, and then you have the light entities. If you're in the physical world, in a physical body, you have a light soul. Just because the human brain says, oh, I'm going to see if I can sell my soul to the devil, your soul's like in there going, no way, man, it's not happening, you know. But it's only your brain that's telling you that. You know, the soul's saying, no, I ain't going there. Yeah, no, people always think that the devil can take your soul, but no.
What's the most chilling removal case you have handled that still lingers in your memory?
I think the worst one was, and it's still number one for me, is the exorcism I did on a woman who had 11 demons in her. I mean, that was quite interesting, you know. I did a show called Ground Zero, Clyde Lewis, and I got like 300 requests for help in the first week. And I'm like, hey. So I got to hers, and she said that she was possessed, and blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, send me a picture, you know. Sent me a picture, and I'm like, oh, crap. There's 11 of them in there. Really? Give me a break. So I have a friend that's a minister, and he wanted to go with me because he had been wanting to go with me on removal cases. And a friend of mine, she wanted to go as well. I said, you have to prepare for this. This is like nothing you've ever experienced. I said, I don't mean wearing a crystal. I said, that don't do anything for you. Don't even think about that one. I said, a lot of prayer, a lot of, you know, asking for God to watch over you. So we get there, and I knock on the door, and the woman opens the door, and her eyes are black, and the demon's growling at me in Aramaic and saying, you know, what do you want, bitch? And then slams the door. I'm like, my friends are like looking at it like, what just happened? I'm like, no problem, just a demon. Okay, move on. Knock on the door again. Get inside. She's in control for the moment. Get inside. And it took me a good 2 hours to remove all 10 of them. And I got down to the last one. And I looked into its mind, because I can look into their minds. And I saw why it was hiding out in the woman. And it was hiding out. And I told her, I said, you were given a job to do by Lucifer, and you didn't do it. You just blew him off. I said, he's looking for you. I said, you have two choices. I said, if you want to go back to the light, I said, I can ask Jesus to come and take you back to the light if you really want to go home. And I can go home. And I'm like, yes, you can go home. So I said, Jesus, come forth. And my friends are standing in front of me, and they part as this huge arm comes out. White light arm is just so bright they could hardly stand to look at it. And I said, there you go. If you want to go home, take his hand. And then the demon's like, no, I can never go home. And he pulled back into the woman. And so Jesus pulled back his arm. I said, so be it. I said, Lucifer, come forth. And at the end of the hallway, this figure appeared. What my friend saw was a black shadow creature figure in a fedora, double-breasted suit, and spats. And it's walking towards us. And I told Lucifer, I said, this is the one you're looking for. And Lucifer told the demon, he said, get out of there. Come out now. And he called it by name. And it said, no, I'm not leaving. And you can't make me. And Lucifer turned to look at me and said, I know you don't want me to harm the woman, so I can't rip the demon out right now. But I will be back for it tonight. And he turned around and disappeared down the hallway. And my friends were going home. I told her, I said, your last demon will be gone by tonight. I said, don't worry about it. And so we all left, and my friends are like, we get in the car, and my friend's like, oh my God. He said, my friend that's a minister said, just for a split second, he said, I doubted it. I doubted your sanity when you called Lucifer forward. He said, then I remembered who and what you were, and I was okay with it. And we laugh about it today because it's, but we all went home, and we all woke up at 3 a.m. in our respective beds, and I heard Lucifer say it's done. And so I called the woman the next day, and she says, I haven't felt like this in 20 years. I feel empty. I'm like, yeah, go get some treatment. Go and get some. You have PTSD from having all of this going on for 20 years. I said, go and talk to somebody, psychologist, psychiatry, something. Get some counseling. So she did. And that was an interesting case.
If you could give every listener just one protective ritual or object to keep in their home starting tonight.
People don't understand that. Okay, I can give a Jewish person a crucifix. Okay, but that's not what they have faith in. They have faith in the Star of David. Okay, but for a Christian, it is a crucifix with the image of Jesus on it. Okay, and they have faith in it. It's whatever you have faith in. If you have a faith in a quarter, and absolute faith, then that will protect you. If you don't have that absolute faith, then you're screwed. Because demons know when they look into your mind, and they pull out what your idea, what your image of a demon should look like. And if they show themselves to you, they'll show that image only 1,000 times worse. So, you have to, if they look in there, they find, oh, well, this person has faith in the crucifix, or this person has faith in the Star of David. Their faith is strong, so I'm not even going to bother. I'm just going to move on. It's all about having that faith. It's like removing demons, like a Catholic priest. If they have doubt in what they're doing, doubt in their abilities, or doubt that they can remove this thing, then they're never going to get it done. You have to have absolute faith. When I go into a location or someone contacts me, I don't have any doubt about what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. I have no doubts whatsoever. I never have. And so that's why I can take care of business. Because I have no doubts. And the demons can't make me perceive them as they wish to be perceived. I see them in their true form. They can't hide. But there is like a white light protection that you can do. You can pull in the light from the heavenly realm into your crown, and fill your body with it and let it bubble up over your body, the outside of your body, and it'll create a protective barrier. I call it a white light force field. And you can make that force field expand or contract around your body. You can also scoop some of it off and you can send it to someone to protect them. Say, like I've sent mine as far away as the Netherlands to protect someone. And when the time is right, when they're no longer needing the protection, I just pull it back.
In your opinion, what's the single most important thing people misunderstand about the true nature of negative entities?
The single thing, they can't hurt me. I don't know how many times I've heard that. Oh, they can't hurt me. I've seen them pick up a 300-pound man and throw him down the stairs. Let me think about that. I've seen them reach into someone's heart and start squeezing it, give them a heart attack. They can kill you without any problem. People believe they can't hurt you. That would be nice if they couldn't. But I've seen it happen too many times. I'm 66 going on 67, and I've seen it thousands of times.
Can someone be hypnotized into seeing or communicating with spirits? Or is that opening a dangerous door to possession?
People can hypnotize, but not in the way that most people think of it. They can help them to open their third eye. And, some people think that they want to be opened up, but you just don't open the door, swing the door open and let it fly. No. You have to open a little bit at a time. Because if you open it right away and the person's not prepared for what they're going to see, because when you're completely open, you're going to see the good, the bad, and the ugly. And no matter how you see them, it's going to attract negatives as well as positives. So that's why you have to be very, very diligent in your own protection.
According to you, how to activate the third eye completely?
The best way to do it, the easiest way to do it, is to ask for angelic intervention and ask them to open it. Like I would say, ask them to open it halfway first. And then spend a few months, seeing what you can see with that, dealing with that, getting used to that. And then 6 months from then, if you still want to open it completely, you ask for angelic intervention and they can open it up completely. But you have to know that you're going to see the good and the bad.
Does it feel different?
Yeah, with seeing the bad or being open all the way?
When it is opened completely.
Yeah, when it's open completely, you have to learn how to shut it down. You cannot to be open 24/7 is too much for most people because you see it everywhere. You see, in this room right now, there's probably 60 angels. But, most people won't see any of them. But I see them because I'm open 24/7 because of Ariel. So, you're not going to see just one, like the show The Ghost Whisperer. She only ever sees one at a time. Like that didn't happen, I guess for her, maybe it does, but you have to learn to shut it down. And you have to set boundaries and limitations. It's like I work 4 9-hour days. And I tell the other side, you can't bother me while I'm working unless it's an emergency. And when I'm sleeping, you can't bother me when I'm sleeping. I'll take care of you 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. And that's my open times, not any other times. And they will stick with it because they really want the help. They'll wait. I'm telling you, it's like when I was little, I used to have them. They'd be standing in line, miles, waiting for help. Like, oh, give me a break.
Can you also see the future?
Yes, unfortunately for me, I can. Future or the past, yeah.
The good or the bad, mostly?
Both. I don't know, I keep a journal of what I see, what's going to happen. And then when it happens, I put a check mark by it. Like, okay. People will give me validation or something will come on the news. And I'm like, okay.
What kind of future?
It depends. Like there's going to be a earthquake off the coast of China that is going to rupture one of their nuclear plants.
When?
As it's going to be in the next year. And when that happens, millions of people will be killed. It's going because of their safety protocols are not as stringent as what you get in the United States and stuff, that the earthquake will cause a rupture on the inside and it'll blow outward. I can see the explosion outward and it just goes up like an atom bomb.
What else do you see for the future of humanity?
2025 and 2026 are the years when the light is spreading. And there's peace coming. The problem is man is stupid. But I know that there will be, let's see, in 100 years, there will be an earthquake like you've never seen in your life. It will be the ring of fire that is under the ocean, in the Pacific Ocean, that's going to go off. And will be regulated. It'll destroy most of California and half of the western coast. And people will go back to using the barter system. They'll, the electronic stuff will have to all be rebuilt. It's going to be a mess. But I won't be around then, so I don't care. My first book I wrote, Medium's Guide to the Paranormal, God showed me 10 prophecies, and 2 of them have already come true. So we just wait and see for the rest.
So the final question, for those who resonate with your work, what's the best way to contact you or book a session?
They can go to my website, mysticconnections with an S.org, O-R-G, and there's a contact page in there, and under the merchandise page, there is, if they want to do an intuitive reading, have an intuitive reading or something like that, they can purchase it there, and then I'll contact them and we'll get it scheduled. But demonic stuff, they just send me an email, because it'll go to my email and I take care of it that way. I do not charge for demonic issues because that's God's work. You don't charge for God's work. Some people do, but not me.
Thank you so much for joining the show.
Thank you for having me. I had a great time.